Why, hello there, hello there, hello there. Here I am, Jay, with the Tarot Nook, and I am doing your weekly reading. All right, your weekly reading. This is going to be for the 14th to the 21st already of June. Okay. Massive, 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 massive moment astrologically. All right, I believe it's tonight. All right. New moon in Gemini. Okay, Geminis are like the intellectual minds. Albert Einstein was Gemini. It's the kind of situation overall. This is a new beginning in regards to a way of thinking and a way of ways of like ultimately getting creative with your life. All of a sudden, like I feel as if we're feeling a wave of inspiration to ultimately up level, in regards to maybe mental, physically, whatever the case may be. We are putting things into priority. We are prioritizing exactly what will have us ultimately prosper. And, like this is when shit gets real, over the next 6 months. I think 6 months from now. It's a full moon in Gemini. This is when the journey begins. All right. Between now and the next 6 months, you are going to whatever energy you plant tonight, all right, is ultimately, where we're gonna be full on 6 months from now. All right. This is when shit gets real. This is when that we've manifested this new beginning, my friends. This is when we like Harry Potter, right? He ultimately had to go to wizard school. He learned all of these new tricks. We ultimately got ourselves into wizard school. Now we're learning how to work with this magic. All right. And this is our first spell we're casting. No, ultimately, when it comes down to it, 6 months from now, we are going to be a master wizard. Okay. I'm just saying. So, overall, very powerful energy we're in today, right? Really, within the next 6 months, I cannot stress it enough. By the end of this year, my friends, you are going to be a brand new person. You're still going to be that person full of love and hope, but that hope is going to ultimately turn into knowing that overall you're destined for greatness. All right. There's no questioning. There's no, oh, I hope. It's, I claim. It's that kind of energy. All right. Shit is getting real. And because we're ultimately, taking this giant step forward into the rest of our lives, really starting this week. All right. Starting this week, it's a big week. All right. I'm suggesting we're going to work with calligraphy stone or Miriam stone. First off, if you're a writer, if you read tarot, if you do anything creative, this is a great way of ultimately getting rid of that writer's block, getting creative and like letting go of the doubts. All right. Also, since we're ultimately up leveling in regards to empowerment and knowing exactly where we're going and just getting confident to ultimately succeed, this here is a very grounding crystal because overall it's a limestone that's made up of nothing but fossils. All right. This is known as the Akashic Records crystal. You, this is a very powerful, powerful crystal to access that Akashic Records. All right. All of the lives that we've lived in the past, my friends, we're ultimately bringing on all of the lessons we've learned from all of our past lives into our current reality right now. You are going to surprise yourself with how powerful you are. When you work with calligraphy, Crystal, when you work with Miriam Stone, my friends, this is a very powerful tool to ultimately keep on drawing out that confidence, drawing out that drive from our past lives to bring on the best version of ourselves in this life. Okay. Miriam stone or calligraphy crystal. It is a very powerful, powerful crystal because overall, we have grown so much. And every life we learn something, and something that we did not get to learn in that life, we learn in the next life, right? That's what's happening in this life right now. I feel as if there are things that we just did not understand in past lives. And that's exactly what we're up leveling in this life, until we ultimately move on to a next life, learning something that we did not know. I'm sorry, the AC is on, like the noises are going to go back and forth, but it was 90 something degrees out and I'm sweating. Anyway, all right, know and understand when it comes down to it. This empowerment is intense. It's in this empowerment that we're painting that brand new canvas. And this, my friends, is going to be that master work of art. I'm telling you, like, this is going to be our starry, starry night. This is going to be our last supper. This is going to be our lily pads, like this is going to be Jackson Pollock's most crazy, most beautiful work. Understand that this is our masterpiece. This is the masterpiece we've been waiting to ultimately take it, take that step forward on. All right, so let's see what we got here, Spirit. What do we need to know for our greatest good? All right. What do we need to be made aware of? Thank you, Spirit, angels. Thank you. Anything else for the week from the 14th to the 21st? Anything? All right. So overall, we got the King of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. What is this? Exactly what I just said. Okay. I swear. It's a kind of situation. The Six of Pentacles is ultimately exactly where we're at right now. All right. Spirit has handed us this master seed, and we're getting started on this masterpiece. All right. This seed that we're planting, we're ultimately, being very methodical about it, meaning we're honing in, we're grounding ourselves, and we're ultimately working with this seed to grow this seed into the most fruitful pentacle tree in the world. All right. We got the Six of Pentacles to the Knight, and the Knight of Pentacles takes action based upon knowing exactly what is ultimately happening in his life. All right. He does not take it for granted. He ultimately puts his best foot forward and he makes it work. All right. That it's the Knight of Pentacles, the slowest moving knight of the deck. But the reason why it's the slowest moving knight of the deck is because great things don't happen overnight. You know, now with the King of Pentacles, the King Pentacles is the greatest thing that can happen overnight. All right. This has to do with us. All right. The King of Pentacles, it's not the Ten of Pentacles, which is like, like all about, us and our outside world, our inside world and outside world. This is specifically us and how we look at ourselves, the generator of the energy that ultimately comes forward around us. All right. The only way to manifest the best things in the world is if you're at that, level of ultimately matching the energy. No, when it comes down to it, this is a journey towards our best selves. The King of Pentacles has ultimately made mistakes. He's learned from those mistakes. He's found the order, he's found the structure, he's found the prosperity needed to live his life out in nothing but security and wealth and riches. My friends, like this is exactly who we're becoming. We're becoming the best version of ourselves. All right. Spirit is ultimately saying this is the energy that we're harnessing right now. Okay. The Two of Wands, that is some beautiful energy. That is packing the bags to bring on the clarity needed to take action and putting our best foot forward with nothing but success and badass victory. I'm telling you, all right? This is when this is when the rest of our life really begins. All right, what have I been saying over the past year? This is our fairy tale ending. We are in that fairy tale ending. We are in this energy, and now we're finally matching the energy. It's like we've been in this energy. What did I say last week? Um Briar Rose, Aurora, pricked her finger on the spinning wheel. That was a part of her fairy tale. All right, she went to sleep in the tower. Maleficent was holding her captive until the fairies got Philip to ultimately get up and rescue her, right? And then he woke her up with love's first kiss and they lived happily ever after. It's the kind of situation. This has been a part of our fairy tale. All of the things that have been ultimately testing our patience, all of the things that have ultimately been testing our power, my friends, it's like we found our power in those tests. And it's in those tests, my friends, which will ultimately take, it's in this success. It's in this badass success that we're going in the direction of exactly where we're meant to go. Meaning, we're planting that seed, we're taking that seed seriously, taking action, letting it grow to turn into that big, 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 big seed. And that is just the best version of ourselves. Like this seed is growing into just empowerment. I can't say it anymore. No one understand when it comes down to it, my friends. This energy that's coming forward with that Ace of Swords, with that Knight of Swords, clarity. All right, we are not confused over our next steps. The things that have been ultimately coming forward, we're like, all right, that's great. They're here. Ultimately, while this is ultimately going ahead, while this is currently like in the works, whatever is in the works for you, now is the time to focus on ourselves while other things develop. All right. This is when we're like, all right. This is phenomenal. This is in the works. This is in the works. There's so many beautiful things that are ultimately happening, but now we're deciding to put our focus not on the outside of things that are growing, on what's inside. All right, we are getting so clear and we know exactly what we need to do. This victory over our overthinking is happening in real time. And know that we have the slowest moving knight, the Knight of Pentacles, and the fastest moving knight of the deck, the Knight of Swords, meaning this action we're taking is very methodical. This action we're taking is very logical, and it's in this slow action that we're taking our best foot forward into just catapulting into the best of our lives. All right. It's almost kind of like, what am I seeing? I'm seeing a rocket, like in like old Looney Tunes, right? There's like, like a rocket, there's a string, you light it, zzz, and it's like sparks and it's ultimately going, and it ultimately speeds up. That's exactly what's happening. These next 6 months, my friends, it's going to be that rocket taking off. All right. No one understand, my friends, like I can't say it anymore with the Queen of Swords. We are understanding our truth. We are giving birth to exactly what will make us prosper. We're seeing for ourselves that we cannot let the outside influences affect us anymore. Like this is all about a mindset in regards to looking at the glass as half empty and of half full instead of half empty. All right, this is us ultimately, flipping that overthinking on its back and seeing that when it comes down to it, life is hectic. The energy around us is crazy, but that does not mean that we have to stop ourselves from ultimately putting our best foot forward. No one understand. We are finding balance we found balance in the imbalance. All right, it's a kind of situation with the Nine of Swords, with the Emperor and the Ace of Pentacles. It's like we have ultimately been through our worst. All right. We have been through our worst. We have screamed. We have, like thought some terrible things, things that scared the shit out of us. And it's in that overthinking and in those moments of like, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, where we ultimately found our way. All right. From the swamps, we found our sun. By being in the dark, we've been able to find the light. All right. And it has not been an easy journey, but this journey is well earned. All right. We did some really deep soul searching. There's a lot of things that came forward from past lives, calligraphy stone. All right. A lot of things that have been coming forward from past lives that we needed to learn that ultimately was some heavy shit. But I feel as if we've closed this cycle. We're ultimately, where we're just overthinking and, thinking about the things that we don't have yet. Like I feel as if we've been concentrating so hard on the things that haven't happened for us yet that we forgot to focus on the things that we do have, and I feel as if we ultimately had that awakening. We woke up. This is us waking up. This is us seeing that ultimately universe is handing us a seed to grow it into the best version of ourselves. And that best version of ourselves is bringing on so much prosperity and clarity and victory. This best version of ourselves is giving us the opportunity to give birth to new ways of thinking, ultimately seeing that even though the chatter on the outside is a lot, we're ultimately, like moving past it, finding finding that perfection in the imperfections. It's a kind of situation. Know that with this Ace of Pentacles, we are finding that ultimate prosperity. We are bringing in that absolute, absolute ultimate love. All right. We got the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles, love and money. We're finding the love within ourselves to call in the best kind of love in the world. We are finding the riches within ourselves that will bring us in nothing but prosperity. No one understand that. See, this is that rocket. I'm telling you, I'm seeing this rocket ultimately happening and like get ready for liftoff, my friends. I'm telling you, like, know that this is what movement looks like. This when we put our best foot forward, that's when the chariot starts to move forward. I'm telling you, like, my gosh, like for a lot of people, this may ultimately you be saying, like without all the doubts in the world, getting a new job, going back to school, going back to the gym, taking your physical fitness seriously. Listen, when it comes down to it, you could only give your best when you are at your best. And I feel as if that is something that a lot of us, have ultimately mastered with the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. All right, the Hierophant is the channel between himself and spirit. People flock in. He is that spiritual guru that people ultimately flock to for answers. No one understand, my friends. Like, this is what victory looks like. All right. Whoa, all of this fell out. All right. The lovers at the bottom of the deck. All right. I mean, the lovers, it's all about how we look at love, how we choose to look at love. Love is the most powerful thing in the damn world, my friends. And we're starting to ultimately realize that we need to keep on feeding that self love. We can't focus on that self love, then I'll be like, okay, there's this. I need to focus on this. It's like I feel as if we ultimately have this awakening and then we ultimately squirrel. This is when we ultimately see it's time to choose that kind of love that will bring on that best kind of love for us. And that is not any kind of regular energy, my friends. I'm telling you. This is what victory looks like with the Hanged Man upright, with the Seven of Swords, with the Five of Cups in reverse. You know what this means? We took that time to ultimately sort through the things that we were doing to ourselves, that were just ultimately putting ourselves on the back burner. And we're seeing that that way of ultimately thinking was having us stay like, stuck in the same cycle over and over and over again. Like I feel as if we finally woke up and realized that it's like we smelt the coffee. We really did. I feel as if we had time to ultimately, rest, and now it's time to ultimately take lift off. The Four Swords in reverse means ultimately that, and the Hanged Man in reverse is ultimately saying that time where we ultimately, we're meant to ultimately like lay low. Now it's the time to get shit started. All right. We got the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. This growth is happening in real time. We're ultimately, with the Two of Cups in reverse, we're not concentrating on the connections of other people. We're concentrating on ourselves. And that is bringing on so much happiness. That is bringing on so many new opportunities to think differently. That's bringing on so much order and strength and structure and power and just like the kind of opportunities that will bring on nothing but the utmost victory. I cannot say it any louder, my friends. This is when the ball starts to roll. This is when we take in all of the energy from all of our past lives. I'm telling you, calligraphy stone, all of the lessons we learned from our past lives, we use it subconsciously to our advantage and we make the best out of what we have on our plate. This seed we've watered, it's starting to grow. From the Six of Pentacles, we got the Seven of Pentacles seeing that growth, and the Knight of Pentacles taking action upon that growth. Seeing that growth there and ultimately saying, okay, now is my time to take action with it. All right. And since we're doing that, my dearest friends, we are really, we are really becoming that version of ourselves that we have always hoped we would be. All right. Know it, own it, and be it. Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and pull some cards from my Wisdom of Babylon deck. All right. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. I think this energy after this is ultimately, like really like to be set in stone. Let's see if there's anything that lies beneath that message, because that was such a powerful message, my friends. It took us a very long time to get to exactly where we are. We are concentrating on what's in here as opposed to what's out there. What's out there will happen when ultimately in divine timing, right? But what we need to do is focus on ourselves and our world. It's our job to make the best out of ourselves. And I feel as if we're really starting to see, we're really starting to bring that energy in. Like, my oh my, birth, rebirth, you see? The novice, beginner. All right. I feel as if like this is us learning how to walk. We've been reborn and we're starting to take those first steps. All right. So, spirit. What do we need to know for our greatest good? All right, sir. What do we need more? Anything else for this week? Phenomenal. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. We got the wasp in reverse and we got the bee upright. What is that? We're letting go of anger and retaliation and jealousy, and we're bringing in sweet victory, luck, and industriousness. Like this is it's a complete flip in regards to the way that we're looking at our lives. We're letting go. We're releasing that emotional baggage. We're cleaning house, and we are ultimately seeing that we are protected. All right. I feel as if when it comes down to it, the Novus in reverse, I feel as if with that coming up in reverse now, I feel as if this is us knowing that this is a new beginning, but we're protected knowing that this new beginning we're taken care of. Here we go, the Earth Fairy, physical health, grounding, and foundations. All right. Calligraphy crystal, all about foundations. What did I say about, physical health? This could be the opportunity to see, our physical health is exactly what we need to get to that best version of ourselves. You got to keep on feeding yourself that half healthy energy. You're cleaning house, you're releasing that emotional baggage to bring on grounding energy full of healthy foundations. Letting go. You see, we're letting go of the control. We're letting go of the naysaying. We're letting go of the anger, and we are allowing ourselves to be. This is a rebirth. This is a rebirth of self, my friends. We're ultimately romance, seeking the secret. I feel as if when it comes down to it, like this really has to do with like bringing our best self to bring on that best kind of right, like this a big part of this journey, my friends. What did I say? There is energy happening in the background. If you're single, that energy is still happening. All right. If you already met somebody, know that that energy is ultimately there to continuously build. When you build what's in here, that's when you feed the positive energy to things out there. All right. I feel as if when it comes down to it, by doing this, this is building up your greatest self so you can give your best self. All right. Magic, right? With Merlin. What did with Harry Potter was my analogy. All right. We're discovering how to work with that balance and this alchemy. My friends, like magic is in the air. And no, it's in this magic. We've asked and we're receiving. All right. This is when magic happens. All right, we're giving birth with the queen. The queen, she's holding a cup. This is the queen of cups, right? We're giving birth to creativity. We're giving birth to sexuality. We're giving birth to friendships. We're giving birth to love. But it's in this giving birth, my friends, where we're letting go of that wounded human ego. I put that right on top of the frog, cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. We're letting go of the old, we're seeing what the truth is, and we're ultimately following through with nothing but sincerity and unconditional love and beauty and trusting that the universe has our back. We're letting go of the restrictions and we're letting go of the fear to bring on nothing but love, to bring on nothing but joy, and to bring on nothing but a new vision in regards to exactly where we're going, because my friends, where we're going is a journey where we are bringing on nothing but power and strength and creative projects and healing and leadership, being able to solve the mysteries of life by opening ourselves up to messages and omens and messages from above. Wealth is coming forward. We're focusing on the things that are important. Movement is happening. It just goes on and on and on. All right. So know that this energy that we are stepping into this week is the energy that we've always meant to be in. This is the energy of the rest of our lives. This is the beginning to the rest of our lives. All right, that wish has come true. That fairy tale ending has already began. But it's in this moment, my friends, where we are being awoken by by a kiss from the universe. That gentle the rebirth that we needed to ultimately jumpstart our best version of ourselves, and we're taking this seriously this time. It's all about us, and no one is going to knock us off this pedestal. This is about us. This time around, we are here for others always. Always we're here for others. But it's about time we truly own the confidence to be there for ourselves. And that's exactly what we're doing this week. All right. So let's go ahead. All right, I'm gonna pull a card in regards to what we can surrender. All right, like my gosh, like this is some massive energy. I'm telling you. All of a sudden, don't be surprised this week if you like decide that you need to walk 10,000 steps a day. Don't be surprised this week if you go to the library, you pick up a book about the best jobs to ultimately, feed exactly what will bring you on that kind of prosperity, being able to go to whatever kind of job you're meant to go to bring on the best kind of like, energy to feed your soul to make the best kind of money, yes, but to, bring on that wealth of self. All right. Don't be surprised this week if you say, you know what, I got a clean house. Like no one understand that, I can't tell you how powerful this week is going to be. All right. Ultimately, I definitely feel like this is it. All right. I split the deck and this speaks of it. Surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or solving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. Then surrender to creativity. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. All right. Surrender to joy. The key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Okay. We're letting go of frustration. We're surrendering to creativity. We're surrendering to that fear of change. All right. And we're surrendering to the wonder and awe. That is the rest of our lives. Okay. So I love you all very much. All right. There are some amazing things happening in the background right now. Spirit is saying, allow that to grow. All right. Don't focus on the outside world. Focus on what's in here, and you'll see, my friends, that everything will happen in the most beautiful time. And you're going to be like, wow, this is exactly where I've meant to be, and this is exactly where I belong. Okay, so I love you all. I hope everyone has a great week. I'll see everyone later. Remember, you are your own best friend. You are your shoulder to cry on, and it's your time to feed that person. And that person, once again, is you. You have been feeding energy to others this entire time. Now it's the time. Now it's the you show. And enjoy it all because you deserve everything in this world and more. All right. I'll see everyone later. Love y'all. And I'll see everyone next Sunday. All righty. Bye.